Hello, everyone. My name is Austin Belzer, and welcome back to the Austin B Media Pod. My guest today is a familiar voice who needs no introduction, making her sixth appearance on the show. It's none other than Alise Chaffins.
Thanks for having me back again.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. Obviously, we've had some incredible conversations in the past. You know, we've covered Barbie twice, Gen V season 1, your book, the Ted Lasso guide. Is it Ted Lasso relationship guide or guide to relationship?
Guide, yep.
Okay, I always get messed up on that one. And then recently, about a month ago, 2 months ago, we covered Sinner. All of those will be linked somehow in either the podcast or Patreon. But glad to have you on to talk about The Bear. Yeah, for anyone new to your work, Alise is a member of Gallica, International Film Society Critics Association, and several other esteemed critic groups. You can find her reviews on her Substack. Look up in her meeting. She just did one. I saw the My Mom Jane review. I saw the Superman review. I think there's 2 other ones I'm missing that you just did.
Yeah, I've been covering Fantasia, so I have a couple of reviews for that, and then I have a review today for Eddington. Well, at some point,
That's
a recent Eddington review, which I was not a fan of, but I know people have liked it, so there we go.
Yeah, but you also have interviews on your YouTube channel, Alise Chaffins, and you'll probably have a lot of interviews coming out of Fantasia. I'm assuming.
Yeah, a few anyway. I just posted one with Steve Pink, director of Hot Tub Time Machine, but most recently a film called Terrestrial that was really fun. And yeah, it's a really different genre for him. It's this psychological thriller. So yeah, but you can catch our interview with that over on YouTube.
Nice. As usual, you know the drill. Is there a movie, show, album, anything else you've been loving lately that you'd like to recommend?
Oh gosh, I'm super late to the party with Andor, but I'm lamenting Diego Luna's snub for the Emmy for that. Yeah, that was like, I love Pedro Pascal, but he should not have been nominated for The Last of Us. That should have 100% gone to titular character Cassian Andor. But yeah, so I'm super late to that show, but holy cow, it is really excellent. I know you've done a couple of podcasts on that, so yeah.
Just the one with Matthew Simpson. Go check it out.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
And you, obviously, if you haven't. We talked 2.5 hours on that.
Well, no doubt. That was a really incredible show. So that's and I what did I just finish? I'm currently rewatching Peacemaker in prep for the new season because I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, it was a show that I was like pretty ambivalent about, but even on a rewatch, it's solid. So yeah, I recommend.
Yeah, mine's gonna be a little out of left field. I did watch all the Christopher Reeve Superman things because of Superman 2025 that I'm doing research for that review. So that's why that's taking forever. Because there's a lot of stuff out there.
About a character that's been around almost 100 years. Yeah.
But I'm not going to recommend any Superman things. I am going to recommend Novocaine with Jack Quaid. I saw that recently. Paramount Plus had a thing where they're like 99 cents for 2 months. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And that's with Showtime too. So I was like, okay, I'll do it for 2 months, cancel it. And Novocaine's pretty good. For those who don't know, Jack Quaid's basically this banker, this assistant manager at this bank, and he can't feel pain. So it becomes like this action hero type thing where he goes to chase down his kidnappers of his girlfriend. I'll leave it at that. It's a very, I feel like a lot of people have been trying to emulate the John Wick style. And this kind of does that, but it reminded me more of the 2018 film Upgrade.
I'd agree with that.
So if you like that, you'll love this one. And it's not trying to, and a whole lot less references to what I assume started referring to Upgrade here as a Venom movie. But a lot less references to that. And no references to The Boys or anything like that. It's just a nice Jack Quaid action movie, which I feel like he hasn't gotten much or any of. other than The Boys.
Yeah, certainly less than one would hope. Yeah.
But by the way, final season next year of The Boys.
Yeah, Gen V coming up September, I believe. So,
yeah, Gen V season 2. We'll have to talk about that.
For sure.
The through line. But yeah, that's all I've got.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have you back on in September. We'll talk Gen V season 2, which will be very interesting to talk about, especially since, unfortunately, a main character, the actor who played, I forget, Chase something. I forget his actual name. Died in real life, so it'll be interesting to see how they navigate that.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously, we've had a few teases as to how that turns out, but we'll see in September about that. But for now, let's talk about The Bear season 4. Which I'm surprised I haven't talked to anybody on a podcast about. I assumed I was going through my podcast notes, and I'm like, oh, I thought I discussed this season 2 at least. No, I haven't. This will be, I think, my first time discussing The Bear ever.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, let's just get down to it. First things first, what drew you to The Bear when it first premiered all these years ago?
A friend of mine who I really trust his opinion on writing things was just raving about it and said this was just some of the most interesting writing he'd seen on television, in recent times, at that point. And yeah, he's just somebody I really trust what he has to say, not necessarily about television or anything, but when he's talking specifically about writing. And that's always the biggest draw to me for a show is how's the story over pretty much everything else. I just heard a bunch of people talk about that. And then, people who've worked in restaurants were like, oh, this is really, really real. And I was a server for a while, so I have some memory of that. So I was kind of interested to watch it for that reason as well. So I didn't watch it until maybe it'd been out for a little while. I didn't catch it as it was just dropped. But yeah, I was in the Bear universe maybe in 3 months after it came out. So somewhere in there. How about you?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty similar. I don't think I was really even interested in The Bear until it started getting Emmys, not Emmy predictions. That's when I think I first noticed it, and I was like, okay, it's 6 episodes or something on Hulu. Each episode's 30 minutes. I'll check it out. It'll be a decent little show, and if not, no sweat off my back,
Right.
And I ended up really loving it. And I'm sure we'll talk about this in the next question. The cinematography is beautiful. The storytelling is immaculate. And it really makes you feel like you're in Chicago with these characters. At the Beef, as it was called then. But yeah, it does a really good job of setting you in that world, I think, and creating this world of anxiety that you feel like, even as a viewer, you can't just click off and escape. Yeah, I hadn't heard of Christopher Storer. I know he's done work on other TV shows, but this is my first exposure to him. But then when season 2, season 3, season 4 came out, it became a must-watch.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bummed that they've done this whole show kind of a disservice by allowing it to be binged.
Yeah.
But that seems to be the Hulu model nowadays for their originals, so it is what it is. I heard they just switched this season of Futurama from a weekly to binge model. So that must be their house release style now.
What they're going for. Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised to see it for King of the Hill as well. But since we're kind of broaching the topic, how do you think the show evolved from season to season?
Yeah, so it always feels like each season has a really strong central theme. And I think of all the things, they have done that pretty well. So, but what because each season has a theme, I think it keeps the show from being always the same tone or whatever. And I think that's kind of interesting for it. I think it was less successful in But I really think a lot of that is just that they filmed season 3 and 4 together. Like at least half of the most current season was filmed with season 3. And it really feels that, like, these 2 seasons, I'd almost say you need to watch as a single season, because I really think while they do have different themes, I feel like they they just really are connected in a way that I don't think you can kind of like extricate them from one another. And it makes both of them just so much stronger. Like as a separate season, I just don't think they work. And that's my general frustration with a lot of streaming TV shows is we've moved to this, 10 episode kind of thing or 8 episodes. And I think it's just really hurting stuff. I mean, we saw that deeply in The Last of Us this season. Like season 2 has like it feels like any accolades that season 2 has are like carryover from how much we loved season 1. Yeah, that's kind of my take on it. Is like I didn't see anything exceptional in this season of The Last of Us. It was good, but yeah, I mean, I know we're not here to talk about The Last of Us. We could do that too, but yeah.
Can I address that real quick? The Last of Us thing.
Yeah.
I feel like because something did happen since the last time I talked about Last of Us season 2, is for the video game that it's based on, Part 2, The Last of Us Part 2, they introduced a chronological mode, and I'm just like, that makes it worse that you split season 2 and 3 of Last of Us in that story into 2 different seasons, because now people are going to play the chronological mode that you just released and get the story that they would have gotten from the HBO show, because the HBO show is very chronological, almost to a fault. And to expound on it is just like, yeah, the Bear season 3 and 4 are probably best watched back to back. And HBO, do not greenlight season 4 or 5 for The Last of Us, because you're letting Craig Mazin steer that ship, and I do not have any confidence in that guy. But anyways, I'm not trying to say anything mean. I'm just he was given more creative control in season 2, and we saw what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the show evolved interestingly, right, from season to season. Because season 1 is like, let's set up the basics. Here's the beef as it is. And then season 2 was rebuilding, basically turning a learning season, right? And then season 3 was, let's get the star. Let's get the Michelin star. And then season 4 is just kind of like, I don't know. Season 4 is just kind of like, yeah, let's do season 3's theme kind of again, but have Carmy apologize to a bunch of people, so it's okay now.
Yeah.
But with that, we're already kind of getting into season 4 territory. So what were your general hopes and expectations for the show going into season 4?
I mean, mostly I was just hoping that they did something new with the characters. Season 3 just felt very regressive in a lot of ways. Like, I felt like we had a lot of character growth that happened in season 2, and then season 3 was a lot of regression.
Yeah.
Which I can understand. I think that it could work, but like as a whole season, it felt tedious. And I think that was my frustration with it, was just like, oh, we have this show where, like these characters are having, various levels of growth. In season 2, there was so much of that. And I can understand with the end of season 2 that there would be elements of like falling back from that. And that doesn't bother me. Like that life in itself isn't just like a always forward momentum kind of thing. There are going to be moments of that. But also on a TV show, I want something, to change. And and like season 3 just felt like season 1, but fancy, and in a way that it was just really tough. But I think we needed that to get to season 4. So I'm not, like I said, I wish it had been like a 15 episode single season. That would be like, I think that would have made for better TV. But yeah, as 20 episodes, yeah, it's just the two are necessary together for me. Like that's all. So yeah, mostly 4. I was just hoping we'd get out of whatever rut we were in season 3.
Yeah, I feel similarly about season 3 and 4 together. I just really wanted them to do something that, I guess, spoilers, they don't do in this show, is really focus on, hey, I guess spoilers for season 3 are I guess I have to spoil season 3 to talk about what I expected for season 4. Yeah. So if you haven't watched the 3 seasons before this, maybe plug your ears a little bit. But the end of season 3 is the review. They get the review. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I thought, okay, let's focus on, my expectation was the theme of this season was going to be, let's improve the bear into what we know it can be. And interestingly enough, it doesn't want to do that. It tries at moments with things I'll go into in spoilers, but every time it tries something that I think would be beneficial for season 4, it kind of pushes it away at it, pushes back at it. It's saying, no, we don't want to do that this season, which some of that, I feel like, to go back, I hate to keep talking about The Last of Us, but I do think it's relevant here.
Yeah.
That maybe FX is letting Christopher Storer steer the ship in many ways, where maybe this is obviously the second half of season 3, and it feels like Christopher Storer wants to tell that story in season 5, and I'm just really not comfortable with it. Obviously got the season 5 renewal, and I'm just like, that's the worst thing that could have happened for this show, because now it's just delaying what should have happened this season into something that we might see next year or the year after. Because as far as I know, we're not getting the Bear season 5 next year. So unless he already has that script written. But anyways, my general hope and expectations for season 4 was, or going into season 4, was focus on what the reviews said and fix it. And in the season, by getting the star. That seemed to be where that was heading. But as we'll get into spoilers, that may or may not be the case.
Yeah.
So now that we've kind of talked broadly about seasons 1 through 4, I think, like, what do you think? How do you think the dynamic between, Carmy, Sid, Richie, how has that changed this season?
I mean, obviously we'll get into this with spoilers because the end is pretty significant in that character arc. I think I don't know. The bear is like, life would be better if you would go to therapy show.
I mean, really,
so much of what comes at the end of this season of season 4, like literally, if these characters just took an hour a week to go talk to a therapist, better. But it is an interesting. This season, I think, deals a lot with like family and either, the family that you have. Yeah, exactly. It's this kind of like interesting blend of like your actual, born into family of origin kind of stuff, and then your work family, which and I think all of the seasons have dealt with that to some degree, but this one just really felt like it honed in on that maybe a little bit stronger. And I really I thought that was interesting because like just the different ways that like friendship and family can sometimes blur. And I think that is worth talking about, because you talk about like found family kind of stuff, but I think a lot of times the dynamics we have with our family is going to be different than the dynamics we have with, our coworkers, our colleagues, or whatever. This center stage is very fun to watch too, because it's just following you around.
Yeah, sorry, maybe he's chewing on my desk. So
yeah, it was an interesting kind of look at, I think, the ways that family kind of, that whole dynamic is, and I appreciated it. It had like a really interesting mirrored episode, I think, to Fish's with a wedding, that I thought was just a really nice kind of flip on that. So, but yeah, we'll talk about more of that, I think, in the spoiler section.
Yeah, I feel like we've got a lot to talk about with the wedding and a back half episode. It's kind of, I would say, a bottle episode in my opinion, but but yeah, I think the thing I noticed this season about how the dynamic changes between these three characters is, I think, and Apple, you're gonna have to mark me explicit for this, they stop bullshitting each other.
For sure.
They just start being honest. Because Carmy's like, hey, at one point, well, I won't spoil it because it's like literally the last episode, he's like, here is why I'm doing what I'm doing. If you don't understand that, you don't know me, essentially. And we see, obviously Sydney's going on a journey this season with the request she gets from Adam, and pulled between those two families. And Richie, who's kind of this, or was this puppy dog, who is kind of saying, hey, I'm trying to honor Mikey's legacy here by making the bear the best it can be. He has a scene early on where they're talking about the review and he's like, I read that review and here's what I know. So they just kind of stop bullshitting each other and just open and honest, which I love this show, so I hate to critique it, which probably isn't why I wrote a review. I didn't write a review about it. It should have happened in season 3. That they should have stopped bullshitting each other after the fridge, especially in a season. The season has so much on the line, literally and figuratively. Yeah, I just, there's so much there. I feel like, again, I would have loved just a 15 or 20 episode season 3.
Yeah,
and so I hope now that they've had this kind of come to Jesus moment of like, hey, we just need to talk to each other like human beings, not employees of one another. That maybe season 5 kind of chills out with doing the same thing over and over and over again. Which made me realize something about this season just now. Anyways, a cultural reference, but regarding the story of season 4, what did you think?
Good. Yeah, I mean, like, I really think we needed this. I mean, you have like season 3. I think it's toward the end of season 2 where Carmy talks about the sorry thing, but it's always this very general, I'm not going to actually apologize for anything. It's like, I'm going to do this and that's going to be the stand-in and that's enough. And like, I love, it's real early in season 4, and I'm just going to do the little bit of spoiler here, but Sid comes in and like Carmy does this and she's like, you're going to have to be more specific. And I think that is much of this season. And it is, I think, what hurt season 3 is, like I said, I don't mind having episode 2, I think it was in season 3, where Carmy and Richie are just like, F you, back and forth for the whole episode. Like, I don't care, because like, after the fridge scene, you're going to have a moment of just like, what the hell are you doing? Anger kind of thing at each other. And I think that's totally reasonable. Like, that didn't bother me for the beginning of the season, but it's literally just 10 episodes of these people just being mean to each other after we had so much character growth in season 2. And it just felt, I mean, I said it before, it just felt so regressive. So 10 episodes of that last season just was exhausting and not fun to watch. And I don't know. I'm glad that we got past that this season, and that there is this. We need to be specific in the way we speak to each other. That we speak to each other. Maybe the way the season ends didn't have to be that way. If we could have spoken to each other before, but like again, we'll get to that here in a minute.
Yeah, that's the finale is one of my big gripes, as we'll talk about. But I think the story is well done. I call it kind of, the theme is kind of an apology tour.
Yeah, I think that's
like even in his best Bruce Springsteen-esque jacket, which makes sense given he was probably preparing for that movie. There's like a whole episode of him just saying like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm the worst," but this time he actually means it, which kind of makes it a lot more impactful, and he's trying to make up for lost time. And I just think that's beautiful, because I think it does set up the finale without spoiling things very well.
For sure.
But at the same time, I'm just like, come on, man. This is, again, I'm gonna keep coming back to this. This should have been in season 3. I feel like you could have done it there. But anyways, I digress. There's a lot of behind the scenes drama with that. A battle between FX and Christopher Storer about what season's going to be the final season and who wants it to be what and all that. So I'm not going to get into all that. But I think the apology tour is pretty effective. I think fixes a lot of season 3 problem, where season 3 felt like a bottle season, where you're getting these character focused stories of like, okay, let's follow this person on this day, this person on this day, this person on this day, and how they learn in order to make the bear better. Season 4 is just like, okay, now they've learned, let's kick ass, essentially. I liked it.
I enjoyed season 4. I thought it was solid. I watched it again with my husband. I watched it myself kind of real quick because I wanted to write a review, and then watched it again a little bit slower with my husband. It's a good season. Like, it held up on a rewatch. So
I didn't rewatch it, but I watched it when it premiered. I think in 3 episode bursts for season 4. So with that, like, what performances stood out to you in season 4?
I mean, they're all always so good. I think that's the thing, is like, even when the show is not good, the performances are just all so stellar that it's hard for me to even pick a favorite, because they're just all excellent. I don't know. It's tough. I think that, I mean, Jeremy Allen White just always continues to be, really excellent. I think, basically every time he's on, Ebon, he is probably just my favorite character. I love Richie. I think he's fantastic. Io, they're literally all just excellent. I felt like we got less of like Marcus, and this season I would have liked to have seen him a little bit more, but even him, I mean, like, I don't know, it's just all there. It's hard for me to even like pick a favorite. I genuinely just think they have one of the best, most talented casts. It's I don't know. And I think the other thing that I appreciated about this season compared to last season, they had all of these cameos that so many of them felt like, look at who we can get to show up in our show. But I didn't feel like they added anything. They just felt like, I don't know, superfluous, whatever. Which, again, I think is kind of the point also, is that the season was meant to kind of echo what the bear was, what the restaurant was, in that it was overcomplicating things that didn't need to be, that it was aimless, that there are parts of it that are absolutely brilliant, but then also parts that just are, kind of meandering and wandering. And I think that's what we got in the season. That's what the review of the bear is at the end of the season. And so I think it is intentional. I think a lot of how things go in the show kind of mirror what the show is talking about. And I think that is interesting. Nevertheless, it is frustrating to watch. It doesn't always make for great TV. I think it is a unique thing that Storer's doing with that, but I don't necessarily know that it always makes for great TV. So, but it was better TV in season 4. But yeah, in terms of best characters, they're just all so good. It's hard for me to even pick one. I don't know. I'm very ambivalent because they're all good.
For me, I think it's a tie between even Moss-Bachrach and Io Edeberry. I think they do the most standout work this season because this is circumstantial spoilers. Hey, no, you need to calm down. There you go. It's the first podcast episode recording where I've had the dog, so he's being whatever about it. Anyhow, Ebon. Is it Ebon or Eben?
I think it's Ebon.
Ebon. Okay. Obviously, he's going to have a fantastic week with Fantastic Four. Pun not intended. That was actually accidental. But yeah, he has this bottle episode where you see him, what he does outside of the bear. And he's just one of those actors who can get across an entire story without saying anything. You just see it on his face. And I know a lot is said about that kind of acting where it's well, maybe we should have some dialogue here. But I prefer less dialogue because if you can get across without dialogue, I'm okay with it. I mean, look at the Dune movie. Denis is very well known that he does not like dialogue heavy scenes, and those movies work exceptionally well. Most of his movies do. But yeah, that bottle episode with him, I would not be surprised to see it up for Emmy consideration next year because I think season 3 is the one that's up for consideration for Emmys this year. So next September, I think it'll be up. Anyways, but Io, I mean, not enough good things I think can be said about her. She directs one of the episodes alongside the actor who plays Marcus, Lionel. I want to say Richie, but I know that's not right.
Lionel Boyles, I believe.
Yes, Lionel Boyles.
Yeah, they co-wrote it. They co-wrote it, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he's in another big movie. Anyways, I can't remember. Anyways, that episode she does, that she directs, is astounding. And I think I really love bottle episodes is what I'm finding out. Because I feel like that's when the bear works the most, but also the least at the same time. I know it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense in my mind. I think the dysfunction of the bear as a restaurant kind of drags down the show from time to time. Oh, another dysfunctional day in the bear. And going back to the season overall, I think that's one of the downers of this season is we don't see a lot of that again. We don't see front of house service. We mainly just kind of have montages of service. It's okay, I guess, but anyways, I'm rambling. Io and Eben are great actors. I fully recommend. I know that I recommended this a few weeks ago. Opus is now on HBO Max.
Yeah, she's I have to watch that. I haven't watched that one yet. So
I know it's very divisive, but she's great. And obviously, Eben's going to be in Fantastic Four, so watch that. I'm sure everyone watching this will watch that. But they're great. If Eben can play a rock man, I'm pretty sure he can do pretty much anything. Although, one thing I was disappointed with this season, Richie does not get his Taylor Swift Eras Tour moment. True. I guess minor spoilers, but yeah, he's supposed to be this huge Swiftie, and he doesn't go to the Eras Tour. Are you kidding me? Because I know it was in Chicago. That might have been a logistical issue, but because I don't know when season 4 was filmed, but might have been pre-Eras Tour. Anyways, as far as other performances, I do think Jeremy Allen White does well. Maybe a little more subdued this time around.
Yeah,
he's lessened the puppy dog eye acting a whole lot in this season. He's not just looking at you like this the whole time with like a sad face. Like, I mean, there is some of that when he's talking at the wedding, and I'm like, okay, I am not a fan of this. This puppy dog eye acting he's doing. But he's a good actor. Am I confident he'll be a good Bruce Springsteen? Not really. But anyways, that's beside the point. Other than Jeremy Allen White, Io, and Lionel, or Eben, I think this season is very, and it's going to sound weird when I say it, but those who have seen the season will understand this. It has several moments with the cast that feel very Avengers Endgame, like throw your popcorn moments in it. Where you're like, oh, that person, oh, hell yeah. And you're just like, I don't know if that works, but hell if I don't enjoy it. I'll enjoy my slop, as the kids say. I'll enjoy my popcorn throwing moments from time to time. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about performance. So obviously, the show has a very distinct visual style and pacing. What stands out to you about the show's direction and cinematography this season?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this season compared to others, it's maybe a little more subdued. The thing that always gets me about this show is how it does so many like tight shots. In a way that most shows don't. I think that's the main thing that I notice. Yeah, like it is up close. Like you are right in Carmy's face. You're right in Sid's face. Like it, and I think that's impressive, and that continues through this season. But like in terms of this is a show where the edits are so impressive always, and there's some of that in one of the early episodes, I can't remember, but they do like a montage kind of thing in the restaurant as they're setting up service or something. And just, yeah, I mean, it's always just these really quick, nice shots. And like, that always impresses me. But like, yeah, in terms of like just general whatever, I mean, it's framed very like theatrically. It's I always think that's the thing is this a lot of this looks like a filmic kind of experience almost more than a television show. And yeah, I mean, I always enjoyed that. So like there are a couple of like solo shots of Carmy that are like, whoo, that's cinema. So yeah.
It's interesting to talk about this season because for like the technical elements of it, because in terms of editing, it has never been more on point. I mean, I think I talked in our critics chat about the edits being aligned so perfectly with the Hulu ad sections that it feels like a natural break, and then it goes to commercial. Because I don't have Hulu without ads money, or at least Verizon doesn't. For whatever reason, they can pay for Disney Plus without ads, but not Hulu without ads. Anyways, take that up with Verizon. Anyway, yeah, the edits are immaculate, but it does feel like a step down in terms of direction and cinematography, because again, a lot of the shots are just like this.
Yeah, they're close.
Like it's absurdly close. I'm like, hey, what do they talk about in terms of cinematography? Like give the audience breathing room. Whereas in this show, I feel like I'm breathing on Carmy's face or somebody's face, and I'm like, this does not feel comfortable. And as I just said, between questions, there's not really a whole lot of the scrumptious shots that we got in previous seasons, where it's like on a dolly and whipping around and showing off the beauty of something. It's much more. This is going to sound damning mechanical this season. It feels more like direction and cinematography. All the technical elements are much more on autopilot, rather than trying to do something unique. Like, what have we not done before? Because I feel like there were some scenes in season 2 and 3 that I'm like, wow, I could frame that. And thinking back on season 4, I don't think I could say that.
I do wonder, though, again, like if that is part of the echoing what's happening in the show, because so much of the show is you don't have any money, and so you have to strip. Everything needs to be taken down to its most basic essentials. And I wonder if they were, again, echoing that in some of the like cinematography, like, okay, we're going to take it back. We're going to go into this more, like naked kind of thing. Like, okay, you get a scallop. That's it. It's perfect, but like, that's all. It's just this really stripped back thing. And I wonder if the show in its cinematography and everything is kind of like doing that as well. I'm not sure, but it feels that way to me. Like a lot of this show feels like it's the filming of it and the way it's put together feels like it is echoing what is happening on the show. So like season 1 is the most chaotic and it's the most handheld, like chaotic looking kind of thing. And then season 2 is this rebuild. And like, it's these moments of like juxtaposing between the like crunch of get this done and then also these like deeply reflective moments for characters where everything kind of slows down. And I think we see that filmically. I think that again, I think that's one of the things about the show that is really interesting, is that not only does it tell whatever story, but that is kind of reflected back in the way they put the story together and put it on screen.
I like that take. I'm just going to file that away in the back of my brain and remind me of that when season 5 comes out, whenever.
Yeah.
And it looks like it was shot on a potato.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to go like a full bore, season 5, they'll shoot with an iPhone.
There we go.
You have no money, so we've got to settle for the small rig kit. No more Sony Venice cameras or whatever they shoot this on, and no chromatic aberration, none of the filters, just straight shot through an iPhone.
There we go.
But since we're recording this after the Emmy nominations have come out, obviously there's been a lot of drama about how this show is categorized as a comedy. Well, it's pretty much a character drama. I guess, what is your feelings about that category fraud, or if it is,
It is.
And how do you think the film tries to the show tries to balance those two tones?
I mean, it has humor in it, but like so did Succession. Succession is a really funny show on a rewatch that's not a comedy. Nobody would ever label that as it would never have been submitted as a comedy. I think it's funnier than The Bear 90% of the time. I think season 1 you can kind of make a pitch that it's a comedy, kind of. Like when I rewatched season 1, I don't know, last year or something, when I was getting ready for season 3 coming out, you could kind of see how it might be a comedy, but I don't know. It's a half-hour show, and I think that's all it is, and that feels not great. So I hate to see like true comedies like Hacks or something, or Shrinking, get kind of snubbed out by a show that has exceptional performances, but like, I don't know, I wouldn't call them funny. And it has comedians in it. I mean, Io, that's obviously, her milieu is comedy, but like Sid's not really, I mean, she's funny. That's the hard part, is like, she can't help but be funny. Like Worms is not a comedic episode at all, but like when she's sitting there trying to describe making the decision between picking Adam Shapiro and picking the bear, like, it's funny. It's not funny, but it really is, because I don't think she can help it. I think everything she does is going to be funny anyway. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. Like, I don't love that it's up for comedy, but whatever. I mean, that's where it is now. So I don't know. Mostly, when it comes down to it, I'm rooting for Shrinking a little more over The Bear. this season.
Same. I do think Hacks will win this year.
I think so too.
Because it won at the Globes, and that's genuinely kind of where the forecast for the Emmys, pretty much. Also, Emmys, you could have done yourself a huge favor if you just extended the window like a half year, like 6 months at the last Emmys, because I feel like next year's Emmys in September of 2026 or whatever are just going to be really weird, because you're going to be talking about The Bear season 4,
Right.
and anyways, and you'll have Stick up there probably, or Murderbot. I don't know, some Apple show. Anyhow, you should have just extended that 6 months. But anyways, I do think it is category fraud. I think it's a drama with funny moments, right? Like Richie waving the gun around in season 1 to get people to go away, right? In season 2, I believe, when Richie's like singing his heart out to Taylor Swift, and obviously the John Cena scene in season 3 is very funny, and then this season is filled with a lot more comedic moments, which I found interesting. It's almost as if they like heard the fact that people thought it's category fraud to be listed as best comedy, and just said, okay, you don't think we're best comedy? Here, let's throw some more in here. Like, anyway, but yeah, I would much rather see it in drama, but I have a feeling Hulu is kind of playing into that category fraud a little bit, so that it doesn't get lumped in with White Lotus every year, or some of the other heavy hitters in that category.
Right. You don't want to end up with a Better Call Saul situation that's up against Succession and never wins a single Emmy, which is wild that Better Call Saul won literally 0 awards. It is a brilliant show that won nothing because it was up against, I mean, like when you're up against Jeremy Strong, you're not going to win. Yeah. And I think that was the problem. Like it was just a show that was run concurrent against the end of Game of Thrones, and which then that's a whole other thing. But and I think that was what The Bear was concerned about, is like, oh, I'm up against Ted Lasso at a time where Ted Lasso is just cleaning up, and it's like, oh well, I don't have to compete, I can probably beat it. I could probably beat, because I think it won against like season 3 of Ted Lasso that wasn't great. It's just, I don't know. Like, it's just a bummer.
I mean, it clearly paid off because
it did.
They won 2 years, 3 years in a row.
Yeah, 2. I don't think we're gonna see. I don't think it's winning as much this year.
No,
like because season 3 is not great, and Hacks season 3 is that great. So,
I need to see that now that is that the one HBO canceled, or am I thinking of the other 2?
I don't know. Oh, the other 2, that's canceled. But no, Hacks is good. It's going on to season 5. Season 4 was meh, but it has some excellent moments in it. But it's another that I could talk about, the problem of the shorter season for streaming shows. Anyway, yeah.
But I guess with that, what would be your rating for season 4 out of 5 stars?
I think I gave it 4, just because I'm pretty generous, generally speaking. It's one that if it had been 3 and 4 in some kind of combined, then I would give it more. But like as it is, I think season 4 is solid. It's a good 4 stars for me. Season 3 was probably a 3-ish star, 2.5, 3-star kind of viewing experience. But together, I think they make like a 4.5-star viewing experience. So I don't know. It's just, I don't think either of them live up to their potential as a single thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go, as much as it pains me to say it, 3 stars.
I mean, that's fair.
If you bundle this with season 3, 4. Because I really do think, I don't want to harp on this too much, but I am sick of half seasons. It especially grated me when Invincible did it. When they had like part 1 of season, was it 3? Or no, season 2.
Okay. I have not watched
came back for one of them. Whatever the one was that recently happened. No, I think it was season 2. Yeah. Because it had like the first batch of episodes come out, and then you waited like 6 weeks, and then the second half came out. And I was just like, yeah, no, we can't be doing this. And with The Bear season 4, I especially felt it.
I don't mind it if you like set it up as a half season. That doesn't bother me that much, honestly. Yeah. Like, I was very glad that, you know, speaking of that, like Squid Game season 2 is definitely season 2A, with this season 3 being season 2B. Like, they are a season of television, not 2 seasons. And yeah, like, I don't like it when we call a half season a season. I don't mind this is a mid-season break kind of thing. That's fine. Like, that doesn't bother me, but don't call it a whole season. So
yeah,
because that's your content.
Yeah, I guess that makes a good point. Is like I'm much more willing to do it for, you know, if it's part of the same season. But yeah, the season 3 and season 4, what a fumble in my mind. But yeah, that's all I'll say about season 4. But I guess looking ahead a little bit to season 5, now that it's confirmed,
Right.
what are you most excited to see, and what are your thoughts on season 5?
I mean, the only thing that needs to happen in season 5 is that Jess and Richie get together. That's literally it. But Jess and Richie, that's it. Everything else I don't really care about. I feel like it's all spoilers from season 4 that I'd be looking forward to. But yes, Jess and Richie, that's it. That's what needs to happen in season 5. Everything else is just on top of that. That's it.
Okay. So yeah, I think we'll save that answer for spoilers. Let's get into that a little bit more in spoilers. But I think season 5, the non-spoiler version of my answer, is going to be season 5 needs to be the final season.
Yes, it needs to be the final season. 100%.
If it is not, you will hear a scream from Arkansas that you can hear from where you're at.
Yep, in West Virginia. Our 2 screams join.
Like, you'll just see, like, I'll just go off in the critics chat, or Critics Association chat, just like, I can't believe they're doing a 6th season. Or whatever it ends up being, because again, no spoilers for season 4. I'll just say the finale of season 4 is titled Goodbye. And I think you don't title that finale Goodbye if we're not heading that way.
Yeah.
So that's all I'll say without spoiling it.
Yeah.
So with that, before we dive into some spoiler-filled territory, here's a quick heads up for those who haven't caught up through the end of season 4 of The Bear yet. We're about to delve into pretty much the entire season in detail. So if you want to avoid spoilers, you can skip ahead to the chapter marked final thoughts or social media plugs or some variation of that in the episode's description. So, now that you've been warned, either click off and go finish The Bear season 4 or listen to another podcast. Just if you don't want to be spoiled, go away. But if you do, come on and stay a while. So first things first, I think the main thing we've got to address is the finale of season 4. Quick refresher: Carmy basically hands over ownership of the Bear to Sid and Richie, if I'm remembering right.
And Sugar, yeah.
And Sugar, yeah. That's what I was missing. I was like, I know there's a third person, but I can't remember who it was.
Yep.
So yeah, that's obviously a flip on the partnership agreement that they were going to agree to was that Carmy and Sugar and Sid were going to be in it. But he said, I'm burnt out. I don't love cooking anymore. This is it. This is the end of the line.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that finale?
I mean, I called it the second he was on the call with Sugar, and she's like, do you still love this? In like episode 2 or 3, I don't remember, but it's early in the season. And she's like, it's great that you did love this at a time. And then he's like, I need to call and like change the agreement. And I was like, oh, he's not going to do it. He's going to give the whole thing to Sid. So that was kind of my first thought. I was like, nope, he's definitely given it to Sid. He's not going to keep doing it. I thought the finale, one of the things that like really struck me about it is this show has some of the best soundtrack of any television show at all. Like, I think Bill Lawrence TV shows have excellent needle drops, and The Bear has unbelievable soundtrack. And there is none in the finale. It is almost all ambient noise. There's like no score, there's no soundtrack. It is just them talking. And I loved that. I thought that was so interesting. It doesn't have the like, it's not like a oneer, but it doesn't have the real quick edits that so much of the rest of the show does. It like cameras hold on people for like long stretches of time. And I just thought it was so interesting to like switch up the whole vibe of the show for that episode. And it was, in that regard, it was excellent. Like, I loved all that. I liked when it was wrapping up, so much of season 4 is just the end of the show. I really don't know what they're going to do in season 5. I think that's part of my thing, is so much is wrapped up to what I consider a really like decent way. I felt in the finale, it doesn't have that full it's over kind of feeling, but it felt over enough. It didn't have that like gut punch, oh, they're going to make me cry finale kind of thing that you would expect, especially from The Bear, that has like some pretty weepy moments. And so that was the only reason when the finale was happening that I was like, I don't know if it's over. It can be over now. Like, it would be a satisfying end, but it's not like a series finale kind of vibe. It didn't have that. And that was the only thing that I was like, if it's over, that's fine. I'm not mad about this being the end of the show, but the finale didn't feel finished, even though the season did, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, the final shot of the season is the clock running out. That's
right.
What most of the season is the computer puts a clock down that says, once this runs out, you're out of money. And to have it end on the clock running out, I was like, okay, that's it. That's the series. It's done. Because I think the thing with season 5, I'll talk about it a little bit here, because it does color a lot of my feelings now about the finale of season 4, is the clock running out is such a good way to just be like, okay, we fulfilled the story. Most restaurants close. I can make up a story in my head that, okay, the beef, they maybe franchise the beef or the bear. Sorry, I keep thinking of the beef because they're making the beef sandwiches in the style of the beef.
But I think that's still called. Yeah, I think their window is still called the beef to some degree.
Oh, interesting.
I think, yeah,
maybe. It's weird. It's this whole weird thing. Anyways, like, I could make up a story about it. Like, oh, maybe the window shop survives, but the restaurant doesn't, and that's my mind made up. That I don't need any more. So when I read that Variety article in my email once, I was like, oh, season 5. I wanted to slam my fist against the desk, because I'm like, it ended so perfectly. I don't think I could think of a better way to end the show than the clock literally running out. I could say it 1,000 different ways, but I'm not going to. But yeah, the finale feels like a stage play. It's almost kind of getting back to our earlier conversation. about camera styling, it gets back to that season 1 feel where they're in the alley that they all have mental breakdowns in, and which sounds absurd to say out loud. And it's just that return to the wide open space where maybe even in a bigger aspect ratio even off the look, but it's just stage play between 3 characters. Well, for most of it, that's actually between 2 characters, and then character 3 enters, then character 4 enters.
Yeah.
And it's just like, here's your cue. And that's why it feels so disingenuous to have a season 5 to me, because I just don't need it. I don't need it. The clock's run out. End of story.
Yeah, and so many of the relationships are ended in a place that feels really solid too. I think that was the thing, is like, where do you go? Like, I love Tonnato, the episode between Carmy and Donna, and it's so beautiful. Like, I genuinely loved that episode where he cooks for her, and I'm like, I don't need any more of their story. I love the wedding episode. It's so good. It puts Richie in a great place with his ex and with his, now co-parent. And I loved that. And his daughter, and that all feels good. And like Carmy and Claire feel like in a good place of like, I don't need them to be together. They are on a healthy track that may be together, may not be together, but like, I don't need any more. He's apologized for real to her. And that matters. And like, so I don't need more there. And I guess that's the thing, is like, what more? I don't know how they like take any of these relationships beyond where they, like I said, I mean, that's why the only thing I like genuinely care about in season 5, and there was even a moment like in season 4 where I was like, oh yes, for Richie and Jess, because they're my main ship, is like, I need Richie and Jess together. Like, they are awesome. I've wanted that since season 2. I want Richie and Jessica together. But even there, like, there's a scene where she fixes his tie, and then at the end he like fixes her, vest or whatever. And I'm like, so even that is like wrapped up in a way that feels satisfying to me. And so, that's my biggest thing with season 5, is like, I genuinely don't know what they can do, because at this point, anything more is going to feel like gratuitous. And that's a bummer to me. I don't love that. It's like,
It reminds me of how I felt of after Scrubs ended, and then they decided to do another season in med school.
Which I've never watched the last season.
Yeah, don't. Which grateful it's getting a reboot or whatever, but I'm good, Bill Lawrence. If you just want to make something else like more shrinking, I'm good. But season 5 feels like that to me. Is we're almost entering a place where it feels like spin-off territory. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I genuinely, I sit there and I'm like, the only other thing that is left to happen is for them to get the Michelin star. Like, and I don't know that even, like, Marcus is in a good place. Tina finishes, she's able to do her dish in under 3 minutes. Like, everything is set. I just genuinely, I don't know what you do in a season 5. And I guess that's what stresses me out about season 5, is I don't know what else is left. Like, I can't sit here and think what story didn't feel wrapped up. None of them. They're all fine. Like, we don't know what happens with the bear. Is it going to close? Are they going to get out of debt? But I don't feel like I need that. Like, that doesn't, the success of the restaurant is not why I'm watching this show. I don't need gentrification restaurant to like succeed for me to care about the show. The thing I care about in the show are the characters, and all of their arcs are pretty completed. Like I said, the finale isn't this like emotional thing, but it's done in such a great way. Like, Carmy and Richie have this beautiful conversation about like Carmy showing up to Mikey's funeral, and like the stress that the two of them felt about one another, that they, like, I don't know. It's just, I'm just bummed because like it's so good. Like the end of season 4 really does. I don't know what 5's going to do. I've said that like 6 times though, so I can be done now.
Yeah, it's just that point of like, again, why would you name the season 4 finale Goodbye?
Goodbye.
And while you were talking, I was thinking about a Reddit post I made when season 3 ended, about the success of the restaurant. I don't care. I hope. Yeah. I think I said in that Reddit post that somebody made, I want the end of the show to be the bear closing, because that makes much more sense than it somehow succeeding, even though they're presumably going to ask for a loan to franchise the bear in excess of the money already borrowed. So this is $300,000 in debt at this point, if not more, because $100,000 is what they found in the tomato cans, I think, or something like that. And then that was a loan from Jimmy to franchise the bear or something. I'm a little fuzzy on that. And then they take that $100,000, borrow against it to turn the beef into the bear, and now they're going to ask for another loan. There's a reason Ever closed.
Right.
There's a reason Jess is now working at the bear, because they could not pay their bills. And anyway, regarding season 5, all I'll say is the most realistic thing, the headcanon I have, whether or not season 5 wants to admit it, is the bear should have closed with that review. It is highly unrealistic any other scenario, to me.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I don't care about the Michelin star. I really don't. And Marcus being named like whatever.
Yeah, like best new chef kind of thing at Food and Wine. Yeah.
Nothing. That does not matter. Anyways, Anyway, I'm getting worked up over a fake TV show or fake characters in a TV show. Right. But I guess let's kind of zero in on some storylines. How do we feel about Carmy's storyline and how it wraps up this season?
And then, like I said, I think it's really good. Like he is making amends. He's doing, we've seen him go to all of these not like Al-Anon, but the like survivors of like drug use. I can't remember what those meetings are called, but I imagine those use a lot of the same 12 steps. And I think we're kind of like seeing him go through that to some degree. And this season in particular, he's able to own up to stuff and be specific about ways that he has hurt people. And I think that's really good. Like I said, the scene between him and Donna is one of my absolute favorites. I think it is so beautiful because here's this person who, hurt him just through his life. And, she apologizes to him. He makes her a meal, which he has not cooked for her. And I think that's just so beautiful. And I love the way that's done. I love how he deals with Claire. I love how he deals with Richie. I just feel like all of the main relationships with him are wrapped up in to me, a really satisfying way. So I feel like his character arc's been good. And yeah, there is a point where it's like, hey, is this what I want to do? Or have I been so focused on, just like what people expect of me because I am good at it, whether or not this is what I actually want to do. And I think that's an interesting question, especially for somebody who is, at the pinnacle of their craft. Here's somebody who is the best at what he does. Yeah. What do you have after that? Why are you continuing to do it? And I think that was an interesting question posed by this season.
Yeah, I like that question because, Carmy begins the season watching Groundhog Day and then later asking somebody you ever feel like you're repeating the same day over and over again? Which I found fascinating, because even in this job, there's some days where I'm like, am I just doing the same thing over and over again? Or questioning that creative side of yourself. Am I just doing the thing to do it, or do I still love this thing? And yeah, I liked where he went. I probably would have appreciated the apology tour a little more in season 3, but I've already talked about that, so I won't get onto it. I love Carmy's storyline this season because it allows him, again, to be honest with himself. Is he just turning into that boss he hated from his time in New York, that traumatized him so much that he can't cook for anyone without feeling this intense anxiety around it, without this pressure that Luca later brings up, that sometimes you can't cook without it. So yeah, I really appreciated it, if only to create a discussion around burnout, because I think it's becoming a real thing that some people are starting to talk about, sure, but I don't think it's still talked about enough, that it's being a relevant conversation. Yeah, I just think Carmy really has a great story this season, where he's trying to find who he is other than this great chef that everyone expects to be great. Right. But yeah, I like that part of it. I do think he gets let off the hook a little too much this season for all the shit he's done.
That's fair.
Like these 4 seasons, I'm like, okay, Claire Bear is being a little too forgiving of something that was probably very emotionally scarring to hear from your childhood crush, right? Like, if my childhood crush was locked in a fridge and told me I'd be better off without you, or whatever he says, I'd be traumatized for a while. But anyways, that's more a question for if we were talking about season 3. But he does get let off the hook a bit too easily. But maybe that's what we see in season 5, is now that he's apologized, what next? What comes after the decision to apologize and step away from your true love? What does that look like? Does he learn from Mikey's mistake? And maybe that's the beautiful part of season 4, is I feel like he's really learning and saying, yeah, Mikey made a lot of mistakes and I'm going to learn from them.
Right.
So shifting that a little bit, let's go to Carmy and Sydney. Like, what are your thoughts on the dynamic between those two, especially after the offer from Adam Shapiro from season 3?
I mean, I liked it. The two of them just give me more of the two of them just interacting. I always think they're interesting. I am not a pro Carmy and Sydney ship.
Me neither.
Sit on that at all. So no, I'm sorry, y'all are wrong. But past that, I love the two of them as friends and as colleagues. I think it's just really interesting. And yeah, I think they end in as good a place as they can. Like, he's done stuff, and I don't think she lets him off the hook. I think that's something that we don't see. I think she's like, fine, if you want to extricate yourself from this, I don't think you should, but if that's what you're going to do, then fine. I need Richie in on this too, and we'll do what you can't do. And I think that, yeah, I think that's good. So I don't think she sacrifices herself for that. Yeah, I thought the two of them was good this season, especially after season 3, where they just felt so disconnected. I would have liked to have seen them have a sooner conversation than the finale. About things.
It got
yeah, like that was probably the biggest thing. Her taking the whole season to decide felt like there's literally no way Shapiro would allow that to happen.
Yeah, it was weird.
That was kind of my big thing, was like, in what world is he sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting for Sid? Like, that feels impossibly ridiculous to me. I was like, no, whatever. I mean, we're talking about, that was what, a 3-month amount of time, a 2-month amount of time, and it goes all the way to the, it was months. This season is over the course of months, and like, for it to take 8 weeks to make that, absolutely not. That just feels absurd to me. Like, there's just no way that would ever happen. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe for a chef at Sydney's level, you'd wait, but I don't think so. I don't think so when you worked it ever and all of that. That felt dumb to me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say it. I don't like Adam's Shapiro's words to her, but I do think he was justified in his anger.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what he would have said, and that it didn't.
But yeah, I really like Carmen Sid's dynamic. This season, it's much more improved. Where they're, again, I feel like I'm harping on the same string. They're able to be honest to each other for the first time. And we see that Carmy knows the whole time about Adam's offer. And yes, Adam is a bit of a dick. Because I fully think that Adam called Carmy to be like, hey, I'm poaching your head chef.
Right.
And that was kind of a dick move. But like, the funniest joke in the whole season comes in the finale. It's like when they're talking about the offer from Adam. And he's like, oh, wait, you're saying you're a better cook than Adam? He's like, yeah, I could smoke him any day. And she's just like, she just sits there for a moment and she's like, yeah, probably. But yeah, I really love how honest they were with each other this season. That like, hey, this doesn't mean shit automatically. It doesn't mean what I'm just gonna forgive you for everything, because you've done a lot of heinous things, like changing the menu every day, and then finally relinquishing that to be like, oh hey, we're running out of money, maybe we should have a set menu. Oh, what a novel concept, Carmy. But yeah, I like their friendship. I'm gonna go heavy on that. I don't want them in season 5 to kiss and that be the end of the series, and they ride off in the L train off into the sunset. Like, that would be too neat for what the show is trying to do. And I hope that in season 5, actually, that they continue to be honest with one another, and that Sydney becomes the great chef Carmy knows she is. I mean, he calls her, you're the bear. You are the bear, not me. You are the bear. You've succeeded where I've failed so many times. And, you know, I just loved it. You know, maybe taking 3 months to tell Adam, hey, here's what's going on, after he's built the entire restaurant basically in what he thinks is your image. Like, what was the passive aggressive thing he did? He was playing like this rap music when she came in, and she sounds like Vivaldi or something, and he's like, oh, you didn't I thought you were gonna play some like he says something, I don't remember what it is, and it's just like, oh, okay, so Adam, you're a real piece of shit, huh? But but yeah, I liked what she did this season. I love both of them together and separately, but also just as friends.
Just as friends. And I do think season 5 could be interesting. Carmy has set up this restaurant and has said, I'm giving it to Sid. I think that could be where the tension lies in season 5, is the actual process of relinquishing the bear. Like, oh, do I actually love this when I'm not trying to when I'm not trying to be the best, when I just am good at what I do and just enjoy it. So I think I
have the same problem.
Could be, I could, and I do think there could be that element of like, okay, I said I'm giving it up. I don't actually want to give it up now that I'm doing that. And I think that could be interesting to explore. I mean, that's, I guess, my other hope for season 5, other than Richie and Jess, is I think that could be an interesting source of tension. And yeah, but no season 6. Carmy has to make a decision about his feels about being a chef in season 5, so it's over.
Yeah, if I get another Tonnato episode, and then that makes like he cooks baby food for Sophie, and then he's like, "Oh, I really do love this. I'm gonna crash out. I'm gonna crash out so hard again. Scream from Arkansas all the way to West Virginia. That would piss me off so much. But yeah, he needs to make a decision, and I have that same problem. I'm gonna be honest. Like when it's not me doing it, I'm like, oh, do I like this more? Do I like not being in control and just being told, here's your deadline, stick to it?
Right.
Or do I like the fact that I can just take a 6-hour nap like I did yesterday and just be like, oh, I'll write my Superman review tomorrow. It's fine. 2 weeks fine. But
right.
But yeah, I relate to that. But talking about Tonnato, I know we talked a little bit about Donna. But I want to go a little further because we do get another episode with her that isn't what we were expecting, I say. How do you think the Tonnato episode comments on, kind of the team's pursuit of that star, the Michelin star, and Carmy as a person?
Yeah, I mean, like, so much of his trauma stems from his mom. I mean, like, his dad seems like he was pretty out of the picture early because we have that, it opens on the conversation between Mikey and Carmy, and they talk a little bit about his dad loving that one, whatever, Irish pub. And I kind of loved that scene. But, I mean, Donna's the person who was there. And so I loved that she apologized to him. And again, in a very direct way, she said, these are the things I did that were wrong. I yelled. I was mean to my kids. I was the abusive mom. And she apologizes for that. And I think that's beautiful. And I love, that is, if Jeremy Allen White wins any awards, I mean, it's that scene. He's beautiful in that scene with Jamie Lee Curtis. I think they both did a really beautiful job in that. So yeah, I don't know. It's lovely. I don't know that was really, I'll be anxious to kind of see what they do. Yeah. With Donna in a season 5, because she really feels wrapped up. I really don't know what else you can do with Donna. And I loved the wedding as kind of the opposite. All the bear, because basically every Bersato person comes back to the wedding to Richie's ex-wife, who I cannot remember her name, to Tiffany's wedding, to Josh Hartnett, who I can't remember his character's name. But anyway, I loved that was this kind of opposite Two Fishes, which was such the seminal episode of season 2. It's here's Donna just plowing her car through, and to have this scene where all the Bersatos get together, and there is some of that drama because you finally meet Francie back, and that's awesome. But I loved.
She knows what she did.
Yeah, she knows what she did, exactly. But I love that we finally got Francie back. That made me happy, and that was a fun. That was a good use of a kind of throwaway cameo. But I didn't hate seeing Brie Larson there. That was fun. But yeah, I loved that juxtaposition where we have Donna come in and Donna leave. She doesn't stick around. She doesn't cause drama. And they have this conversation where they just talk about their fears. And it's very reminiscent of the dinner table where there's this intense tension between, Bob and Mikey and everything. But yeah, instead to just have this conversation where we're just talking about what we're afraid of and everything. I just loved that. I loved that it's this kind of mirror episode of Fishes. I thought it was really, really well done.
You know what I would have killed for? It would have killed the momentum of the wedding episode. It would have been the worst creative decision they could have made. But for me, I would have loved if they ended the wedding episode of a close-up of John Mulaney's character. Just be like, what the fuck? Why did I come here? There was supposed to be a blow-up. Yeah. Just Like, because in that episode he states like, oh, the only reason I'm here is to see the classic blow up. But yeah, as for my thoughts on Donna, I think the main thing I took away is she is healed. There were some worries in season 3 that, oh, she couldn't come to the friends and family thing because maybe she's not there yet. Maybe she's not healed. But season 4 says no, definitive. She literally makes a handwritten list saying that I think ends in I'm sorry like 1 billion times or something like that, which is meant to be a funny moment, but at the same time shows she actually has remorse for, what she did raising, and she really feels so this one's gonna be tough to get through, where she says sorry about Mikey or something like that, where she really feels like she failed him as a mother. And I was just like, oh, so she's good. She's in a good place. She's really whatever. I don't want to say whatever's wrong with her, because that's implying that something is wrong with her. Whatever personal issues she was going through, she's fixed. And that kind of brings us into the Carmy situation where he's realizing, oh, I can work on myself. I can grow as a person, which combined with what we hear, was it episode 2? From Sugar about like, it's okay to let something go if you don't love it anymore. It's just the final nail in the coffin. Like, okay, I'm just going to give it to Sid. Sid, Sugar, and Richie. Wow. Yeah. Just blanked out there for a second. But yeah, I'll be interested to see. I don't think we need to see her in season 5. Do you?
No. I like, honestly, I would prefer not Donna in season 5, because I think maybe coming back, it feels like it would be kind of gratuitous at this point.
I just had a thought. What if the final shot of season 5 is everyone who hasn't come to the bear comes to the bear for one final meal before it closes?
I could totally see that, like a funeral meal at the bear. I could see that, but including like Donna and Pete and everybody.
And Sydney's sister, I think.
Yeah.
One. Yeah. But yeah, that would probably be a better way to end it than how we end it in season 4. But yeah, I don't think we need to see her in season 5 at all. But if we do, it needs to be like the closure scene, like this is the end of the bear. Let's just get in, everyone, and maybe frame a picture of Mikey or something.
Yeah, like I could totally see that in season 5. Like if she shows up, it needs to be in like a group shot kind of thing. Like I don't think we need any more Donna scenes.
Yeah,
I agree.
But then let's talk about our final member of the kitchen that I feel gets attention this season, because I'm not going to talk about Luca ever, any of that, because it feels kind of glossed over this season. Yeah, let's talk about Richie. How do you feel about his journey this season?
I love Richie. Richie's the best character. Like he's excellent, and he's had the most growth for sure. In the wedding, when he's talking about the rocks and the I'm the sand that connects everything. Yeah. I mean, that was beautiful, and I thought it worked for his character. And like I'm excited. Like I was excited that Sid pulled him in. That wasn't Carmy's plan. Carmy's plan was just Sid and Sugar, and then for Sydney to be like, no, I can't do this without Richie. And I loved, and again, we see this, like, I think that's one of the things that's interesting about him is whenever Sydney's like, and I want you to be in this, and he's like, no, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. You don't need to do this, like, just to keep me on. This is where I'm living out. I'm here till it's over. And she's like, no, I want you. And he's like, is this real? And I just love that sense that he has of like, oh, this like self-worth kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. I loved that. Because we see that, and he's like, he like straightens up when he realizes, okay, you want me to for real be a partner in this, not just the guy or whatever. And I just thought that was just done really, really beautifully in the finale. I loved that. I loved that he's honest about, oh, I thought I was jealous of you. I thought this is, I had this kick-ass day with Mikey where we were just out on like a product run, and I thought that was your everyday. And Carmy's like, nope, my everyday was shit. It was bad all the time. Like I was uncomfortable with everything constantly. And so like this realization, and I love Richie. One of my biggest frustrations with this season, like really and truly, is that Richie constantly is having trouble like figuring out what he wants to say to the crew to inspire them. And he has some of these really great lofty things that are pretty funny. Like I enjoyed that. But there's one scene where he's talking to I can't remember who he's talking to, but he's sitting there and he's like, whenever they come, their family, like we need to make them feel included. And he has this kind of moment where he kind of like, you see this thing click in his head of like, this is what our purpose is here. But it feels like they kind of let that go. It never felt like it was followed up on. And that was disappointing to me because there was just this moment where he says something. And again, I wish I could remember exactly what it was, because it was just this really interesting moment, and it felt kind of pushed aside, like they made a point of mentioning this and then like never followed up on it, and I felt like that was the best.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's something that while watching it, I really felt like they're leading up to something, and then it was just like he has a conversation with, I think, either Luca or Sid. I think it was Sid, because I think that's kind of where they start setting up that they're actually partners, that they better each other. She's like, just keep it simple, and then I think he clicks for him, and he's like, oh, let's kick ass.
You're right.
Yeah, the lofty speeches are interesting, but first things first, the first thing I want to say about Richie is, what is his letterbox? Give it to us. Like, what do you mean Richie's just going out to bars and watching like 1950s samurai movies? Hit me with the Google Maps link, Richie. Where are you going? Showing 50s black and white samurai movies at like white? That sounds like a vibe.
Right.
The jokes aside, I really liked how much attention he got this season. That he was, again, like you said earlier, trying to figure out the restaurant's purpose as opposed to his purpose. And it's really fascinating to see just kind of what he's up to in the day-to-day, like where he's really struggling with the fact that he's going to Tiff's wedding, and this stuff about the teddy bear, like he bought her a teddy bear, and what does that say about me? And that I didn't buy her the teddy bear. I feel like I should be buying her the teddy bear. And he talks to Jess about it, and she's just like, so what? It's a teddy bear. Oh, that might be who he talked to, Jess. That might be who he talked to about the speech. Yeah, that actually makes more sense. So, Past Me was wrong. I think it was Jess, because Jess is his rock in the sand this season, and I hope they get together in season 5. I want nothing but the best for Richie.
Yeah.
He's really, an argument could be made that Richie has suffered the worst. Because doesn't he have like a nightmare in season 2 or 3 about finding, or maybe it's a flashback about finding Mikey's body. I think something around that, like he's outside the closet, like banging on the door, and then it cuts. And I think they imply that in season 2 or 3 that he's the one who finds Mikey's body.
Right.
So he's been through the ringer. Probably, I don't want to compare trauma in this show, but I feel like he's the one who's endured the worst of it. Even says in the finale something along the lines of like, I tried to get him off off the drugs and nothing was working. So I saw the worst and the best of Mikey. And while you were off in New York doing fancy shit or whatever, I think is what he says. And then, like you said earlier, he's like, no, that was hell. That was hell for me. And I couldn't face Mikey's funeral because you guys had been through so much. Anyways, I find it Richie probably the best character in The Bear, bar none.
100%. He absolutely is. He has still the best episode. Forks is the pinnacle episode of The Bear. In my mind, I don't think any episode's as good as Forks.
Yeah.
And that's a Richie episode. Then, he's fascinating.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, that's what made me want to watch season 3 and season 4 is that Forks episode. It really solidified what the show was, which feels weird for a season 2 episode. You feel like you want it solidified in season 1, but no, that episode was like, all right, now I know what the show is. It's about the people and the food, or it's about the people, not the food, or even what's going on in the kitchen. So, yeah, I love Richie. I wish nothing but the best for him in season 5. But speaking more broadly, viewing all the episodes, what hit you the hardest this season?
I mean, literally, I really do think it was when Carmy serves dinner to Donna. That was just because so much of his it feels like so much of the problem with Carmy is related to his mom. That's the thing that he is most wanted to like run away from and not address is the situation with his mom. And in Fishes, she's like, I always make things nice for everyone and nobody ever makes anything nice for me. And for him to sit there and cook her this, chicken dish that he'd made, like he said, hundreds of times, thousands of times at the French Laundry, and to like do that for her, to do something nice for her, because she just never allowed. And I think it was also beautiful. This is where it kind of gets me a little choked up, is she allowed him to do that. People offered help in Fishes, and she's like, no, I just have to do it all myself. I have to do it. And then she feels angry because she had to do it all herself because people didn't help. And I just love that like frustration. But for her to be like, oh, let me cook you a quick lunch or whatever. And he's like, no, I'm gonna cook for you. And for her to also allow him to do that, I just think is genuinely beautiful. Like, I loved that because it's hard. Like, I have adult kids. It's hard, even with them as grown-ups, to let them do something for me. I'm like, no, I have to take care of you. You're my kids. Even though you're all like in your mid to late 20s, I'm still like, no, I have to take care of you. And like, I don't know if that ever goes away. So I thought it was just beautiful for her to be like, to allow herself to be cared for by her kid. I thought it was just really lovely because in season 3, we have that moment between her and Sugar, but even there, it's her caring for Sugar, like through the birth. And yeah, I thought that was just really, it was my favorite scene of this season. I thought it was just gorgeous. I loved it.
Yeah, I have a 3-way tie. So I might figure this out as I'm talking. The first thing I think of is the apology scene between Donna and Carmy. Really gets me, especially when she's apologizing for Mikey, and that scene probably is the highlight of the season. But just below it is the finale of season 4 when Carmy and Sid are arguing with one another. It felt like maybe some people will get this, maybe some people won't. It felt like your two parents fighting. Mm-hmm. There were unnecessary digs at one another. It was just highly emotional. It was like a dog snarling its teeth and just attacking you. It was ugly, and you're just like, please stop fighting, right? And then I guess the third is, obviously we've talked about it a lot, is the wedding where they're all under the table and they're just, it does get a little out of hand. By the end, it kind of turns into a bit, but where they're acknowledging their fears, and it gets to Carmy, and he's like, he doesn't want to say anything about what he's afraid of, so he just makes up an answer. I thought that was a beautiful piece of storytelling of like, Carmy doesn't even want to be honest to himself at this point. He's trying, but he can't get the words out yet. So I guess the contender, I would say the apology for Mikey would be the standout scene for me. Let's see what else. I'm not going to talk about the kitchen dynamics because there really weren't any.
There's not really much this season. Yeah.
But with that, there's one final question, and fittingly enough, it's: were there any character resolutions or cliffhangers that either frustrated or satisfied you?
Yeah, I think that that's the problem for season 5, is that I felt like all of the character arcs satisfied me this season. And that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know what we do from here. Like, they all felt resolved in a way that worked for this show. This isn't the kind of show where I want like the full neat bow on top. I want it to be a little bit messy, a little bit ambiguous. That's what I want from this show. And I felt like it gave me that this season of like, no, Carmy and Claire aren't together, but like, he calls her when he's going to see his mom. And then he has that moment where he's like, going to call her back, and she calls him. And like, and she tells him, about the sweater. And like, and
he gets it.
And he finds the sweater in his room, which is lovely. And I just like, but that's all I need for the two of them. I don't need to see them as a couple. That doesn't feel like what the show is, I guess. I don't mind it being ambiguous that like, maybe they're together, maybe not, maybe they're just friends. Maybe that's where they land because she can't like fully get over what he did, and that's fine. Like, I don't need to know. I loved where he was with his mom. I think that's beautiful. I love where he is with Richie. I love where he is with Sid. I love where Sid is with her dad. I love where Sid and Richie are. I love where Sugar and Pete are. I love where the facts are. Like, I love, and we didn't talk about it, but I love where Ibrahim has this like really fantastic story this season of like, I didn't like doing culinary school. That was not where I fit in, but watch, I'm taking initiative. I'm going to make this thing that I do as good and profitable and still maintain the quality as I possibly can. And like, I thought that was great. And again, like, I don't need to see them have a franchise of that. That all of these things are set in this like kind of liminal space feels correct to me. I don't need the bow of season 5 unless it does. Like, I'm with you. The only way season 5 is justified is if the bear doesn't work. Like, that to me is literally the only way I don't want to say the only way I care. I'm going to watch season 5. I've loved this show. Yeah. I'm going to watch it. Like, that's a for sure. And I'll probably like it because I think it's a pretty smart, pretty good show. Even when it's not good, it's still better than a lot of TV. So like, that's fine. I'm going to watch season 5, but I don't think season 5 needs to happen. And I'm with you. Like, the bear closing feels like a better end for the show than a nice happy end. That's not necessarily what I want for these people.
Yeah, I feel like it's a show that can't end happily. It would almost feel like a betrayal of what the other 4 seasons were to make it happy. Like, I get everyone's healing in the show, but like, to end it on a bittersweet note would actually be the happier ending. Be like, yeah, you didn't the bear closed, but maybe Sid finally opens her own restaurant where she can actually be in charge and Richie and Jess can get together and, all that stuff. But yeah.
That's the only happy ending.
Yeah.
Rich and Jess, they can have a happy bow on it ending. Give them that. Everybody else, I want the liminal space. I want the unknown ambiguity of it all. But not Jess and Richie. Make them a couple.
Yeah.
No, their wedding. That's perfect.
Yeah. And Tiff comes.
It would be very bad, but
yeah, it would be very bad. But
I don't actually.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you. I do think that it's pretty neatly wrapped up. I don't need to see what's in season 5. I will.
Exactly.
But like, if this was it, this is it. It's not, but it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I don't need to see what happens with Marcus. He's pretty much achieved everything he's wanted to achieve. Luca and Marcus might get together. I don't know. That seems to be a fairly popular ship or whatever. Now that they had their scene together with the baby in season 4. But yeah, I don't think there's any way. There's nothing. I can't even think of a singular thing that would be a cliffhanger or unresolved, anything that frustrated or satisfied, which might surprise you with my 3-star rating, but like, it just mechanically didn't work for me. That's the difference. Nothing frustrated or satisfied me. Maybe the whole Thack family being, the cameos being these beautiful, wonderful people, and then you've got these 2 brothers that look nothing like like John Cena or Brie Larson. It's weird. That's the only thing that really jumps out to me, and that's like a very, very, very minor thing. Like, I can easily get over that. But yeah, nothing really frustrates me other than the fact that there's going to be a season 5.
Yeah. Like, I could have used maybe a little more like emotional heft in Goodbye.
Actually, I did find something.
Yeah,
I did find one thing that frustrated me. What's his name? Cicero.
Yeah.
Cicero.
Yeah.
Honking at the computer to get in the car when the computer was like, wait, this Abraham might have a really good idea. It just felt like, but wait, he has a good idea and the clock's about to run out. And you said, I think the clock frustrates me this season.
The clock is frustrating because it is like present and unnecessary.
And there's multiple scenes of Sugar saying, hey, we've turned it around. Look at this pie chart that we've made for you. We've color coded it.
We're fucked.
Yeah. And the computer's relentless in like, no, once that clock runs out, you're done. And it's like, but you said in the beginning of this season, if they showed positive progress, they'd still be open. But now we have to rely on Abraham's plan of franchising the bear or the beef or the window or whatever we're calling it, to save the bear. That just didn't work. That was my main qualm.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the most frustrating cliffhanger, and I think that's what they're going to key in on in season 5. Is, hey, why didn't Cicero listen to the computer or Abraham? And we obviously know Cicero's hurting for money because he's selling his house.
Right.
So yeah, I found one thing that frustrated me. Wow,
that's fair.
But yeah, other than that, pretty decent season. It's not my favorite. Like, I'd probably, if I had to rank the seasons, I'd obviously go season 2, season 1, season 4, and then season 3.
Mine is exactly the same. Yep.
Yeah.
2, 1, 4, 3 for sure.
Yeah, because like season 3 just felt aimless for me.
Season 3 is part 1.
Yeah.
Of this season.
It's the Infinity War to this end game. For all the comic book nerds out there. Anyhow, that's all I've got for this episode. So if you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a rating, and review it on your favorite podcast app. Now that you've listened to our discussion on the Bear Season 4, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the show in the comments below, on social media at awesomebee.media on Blue Sky or at awesomebee.media on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, and or on my Discord or my Patreon community chat. Alise, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Remind everyone where they can find all your fantastic writing.
Alise Chaffins, if you look around, you'll find me. Substack is where I write my reviews. Yeah, Instagram, Threads, all the places. It's mostly Alise Chaffins just about everywhere. You can find me now on Rotten Tomatoes because I was tomato approved. So so you can find reviews there if you want to scroll through like a lot, then you can see me there. But yeah, AliseChaffins.substack.com is the best place to find my writing.
I'm still waiting to hear back, but congratulations. I don't think I could get in this year. I didn't review enough. But anyway, and congrats on is the magazine up?
Next month in September. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, coming soon. I'll make sure to share. And I almost wrote a review of My Mom Jane, but then you took my hook. So go read her review of My Mom Jane. It pretty much is my review of My Mom Jane. So if you're wondering why I haven't gotten a review, well, it's okay.
I liked it.
So, okay, maybe our reviews aren't exactly the same. I thought it was okay. Alise thinks it's great. But go check out her Substack. Maybe subscribe to it. But with that, I've been your host, Austin Belzer. And until next time. Every dollar really helps, and even just sharing the show or leaving a review makes a big difference. That's patreon.com/AustinBeatMedia. I'd love to see you there. Until next time, thanks for being a part of the conversation.